Hi, I'm Marin Leister from MKL Reads. Today I'm going to do a short segment about mistakes you shouldn't make on the oboe. So let's get right to it today. Number one mistake you shouldn't make on the oboe is never adjusting your instrument. So no matter what your level is, you should know that oboes get out of adjustment rather easily. They're not like recorders or harmonicas or really violins for that matter. They get out pretty easily with a decent car ride over some bumps or an airplane ride, or of course being dropped. That always works too. So if you don't know how to do it yourself, just know that your oboe should be looked at probably twice a year. And if you have a teacher that can help you make the fine-tune adjustments in between, that's also great. If you're an advanced student or a professional, of course, you probably already know how to do this. And if you don't, you have to learn. It's just not worth it. You'll get a place after having taken a car ride and have an audition and just have an oboe that doesn't function as well as it should. Okay, number two. Another mistake you can make on the oboe is only having one reed. Now, it sounds kind of ridiculous because as oboe players, we all know we should be more prepared. But the truth is, sometimes it happens. Try not to let it happen. Having one reed is asking for trouble. As the saying goes, you are only as good as your second best reed. So if you have nothing to back you up, you could literally be in the middle of a concert with no way of playing. Nobody wants that to happen to them. So start now with good habits about reeds. Okay, the number three mistake you can make while playing the oboe is never deep cleaning your oboe. So that's my little term, but what I really mean is cleaning out the octave vents in particular, probably twice a year, replacing leaky pads. And again, you may only know what needs to be done after you've had it adjusted or watched somebody do it. But most oboes, after a whole year of not being cleaned really well, will start to gather water in the octave vents. So I'm sure, if nothing else, you've experienced that. And the only way to get rid of it for good, at least for that amount of time, is to remove the octave vent, get in there, and literally clean the gunk out, and then kind of retrain the water, your spit really, to go all the way down the oboe, which you can do with some soapy water. So again, you need to learn how to do that. You need to be able to clean your own octave vents and replace your own pads. Okay, and leading into that, the fourth mistake you shouldn't make on the oboe is relying on somebody else to do the things we've talked about so far. It's really not that hard to get an octave vent remover, remove the octave and the keys surrounding, and clean it. And trust me, if I can do it, you can do it, because I am not a mechanical person. I am not a fix-it kind of person. But even as a teenager, I learned how to do that, and it never intimidated me, and it left me with a lot of freedom. Because if you have an important concert or recital coming up and you're having a water problem in your octave key, there's nobody to call on that short notice in a lot of cases. So you need to be able to rely on yourself to fix your basic oboe problems. The fifth mistake you could make on the oboe is not maintaining your other equipment. So a lot of this is equipment related, but I think solving problems is all about prevention in a lot of cases. That's how it goes with our bodies as well, but in the oboe world, the oboe is no exception. So maintain your other equipment. If you're a beginner, that means making sure you have a clean feather that's in one piece, making sure your swab is clean, doesn't have knots, is attached to the string really well. And if you're more advanced in making or fixing reeds, you want to make sure that your cutting block is filed and sanded down regularly, that your plaques don't have a lot of weak spots, that you keep up on the equipment you need and you keep up on maintaining it. So the same goes for knives. Always have a sharp knife, have several knives really in various stages of their lifespan, and you won't be stranded. You'll be able to take care of yourself. Okay, the number 6 mistake you could make on the oboe is thinking that the sound of the reed is what matters most. And I have other videos about this and probably lots about it in print because it's really close to my heart. I see a lot of students and even professionals really who are so obsessed with the way they sound. But remember that listening to the music when you're in the audience, they're not thinking about the sound of the oboe. They're just hearing the music that you make. And if you you don't have a reed that you can make music on, then it's not really going to affect the people you listen to. The audience is not full of oboe players, at least in most circumstances. Okay, moving right along, number 7 mistake that you don't want to make on the oboe is never warming up your oboe properly. So, if it's news to you, there is actually a way to warm up your oboe, especially if you live in a cold climate in winter. I went to school in Rochester, I lived in New York City, I lived in Chicago, and it gets cold in all of those places. And it just became an absolute habit, the way I would brush my teeth in the morning. When I took out my oboe, I would warm it up. And that physically is warming it up. I would keep the top joint especially, because that's the most vulnerable to cracking under my armpit. Sounds weird, but you know, that's a really warm spot. Get it really nice and warm. Then put the oboe together, you know, my reed's been soaking, and then low notes. Low notes for the first 5 minutes, just to get the trail of spit running all the way down the oboe and not to shock the top joint into sudden pressure by playing a lot of high notes. So there is a way to warm up your oboe to keep the top joint from cracking. Sometimes it cracks anyway, and in that case, you know, you'll probably want to get it repaired. Orange peels work marvelously for sealing the crack while you're in transition. You know, you have a concert to play that night, you can't get it fixed yet, or while it's actually in transit to the repairman. So take care of your oboe as best you can. The number 8 mistake you could make while playing the oboe is taking too much off your reed right away. So make it a habit right from the beginning as you fix reeds. Got some goat action here. Get down, Margot. You can always take more off the reed. You can't put it back. So it's as simple as that. Learn to do little things first. The number 9 mistake you can make while playing the oboe is not exercising physically or having a training schedule. So playing the oboe is just not like any other instrument, although I imagine professionals of any instrument have to be physically able, or you know, to play their instruments. But with the oboe, you need lung power. So I am an advocate of exercise. I've spent all my oboe playing life and beyond running and walking and doing cardio, and even if you're not quite up to that, walking every day is something you should do. Your lungs need that expansion, not just when they're playing the oboe, and you'd be amazed, just as working out will, you know, improve your health and maybe help you lose weight, working out your lungs will make your endurance just so much stronger, and you'll feel so much more powerful. I remember when I was a kid going to a master class with Richard Woodhams, and don't totally quote me here, but I remember him saying something along the lines of preparing for the Strauss concerto meant to him running 10 miles every day. So, you know, take that to heart. Your lungs need expansion. And also, you need a training schedule. If you're an advanced student or a professional doing recitals or concerts, you need to have a plan, just the way you would if you were training for a marathon. So my plan always was, if I was doing a recital or even a really important concert, to be able to play through the whole program 3 times. I'd pause maybe 5 minutes in between each time, but I would play the program through. I have seen so many oboists, even professionals, get up to play a recital that they can't get through. And you know, maybe not everybody notices, but it's obvious that the person's struggling. And what happens when you're physically struggling to play the oboe? There's no music that happens. So playing the oboe is a physical endeavor. Don't forget that, and do the best you can. The last mistake you can do while playing the oboe is not enjoying where you are. So the rest of these were material based. This last one is pretty philosophical, but it's something again that is very close to my heart and that I believe very strongly in. Enjoy where you are making music and with the oboe. You are right where you're supposed to be. Sure, you can always be better. You know, there will always be people better than you, but there will always be people that aren't as advanced as you, really. So you need to enjoy where you are. And in the words of John Mack, from a session I spent with him many, many years ago at the John Mack camp, accept the challenge and then decide how you're going to meet it. Or I guess meet the challenge and decide how you're going to make it happen. Those words stuck with me for 15, 20 years now. And I really can't think of better advice. Okay, the goats are getting in the way here. Join me next time. Thanks so much. Bye.